Most people in life are looking for how do I remain safe in a society and a technology-laden world. We have seen the Person of Interest television show that is educating the world and the land about how crime doesn't pay because there are so many cameras now across our lands in our major cities that can capture any perpetrator at any moment of time, even seconds or moments or hours after the alleged offense. The trouble is that there are still people who use kindness as a way to ply information and gossip about others' lives. That gossip can then be turned into a negative and openly a person can be harmed. I've been testing this theory all while I've been in my homelessness here in Champaign because I wanted to see how gossip spreads. How when you think you're creating a relationship with one individual, you literally are finding out that that individual has no concept of propriety. What I mean by propriety in this case is they have no concept of recognizing that they are establishing the beginnings of an opportunity in networking for their lives with an individual. So they don't think about how important that privacy of that conversation and that trust-building moment is. Literally, a few years ago, there was a book that came out that I loved, absolutely adored, which I'll post later on. But it talked about how marketing is one of those things we do all our lives. Whether we're an employee or whether we're self-employed or whether we're a big booming business owner in network marketing, we are always marketing ourselves to other people. If we lie to people, we lose their regard. If we fudge the truth, we can be caught later by people who just don't trust us anymore. We know in marketing, especially in the marketing of information and ideas and people, which is really what the world is about, is that it takes a good 12 to 14 interactions to establish trust. Any individual representing any organization, any company, or any family that does not provide that concept of trustworthiness, fairness, kindness, compassion, whatnot, and regard may create a distrust that has a lifetime impact. When I talk about this, I can talk about the number of times I've been monstrously hit upon and pushed upon and pissed upon by local law enforcement. I don't really know why they've chosen me to pick on, but I was pulled out of my vehicle so many times it's not even funny. I've had dogs on my car a couple times, which I didn't appreciate because I will never play in that world. The reality is it was a matter of just trying to show their presence, their force, their strength. But about what? I'm a language teacher. I'm a marketing guy. I have no interactions with anything illegal or immoral, usually. So that's my problem. That people, like these young people who have no concept of our world treaties or our federal laws, are being allowed to be put in places of power. When I literally was put in an incarceration position, I was kept aside from all the other men, which I didn't appreciate. It made it very difficult, not at all. It gave me a free television for a while until some female officer lied and got that taken from me, so I could no longer watch the elections and participate in a way I longed to. The reality is when I tell these parts of the story, it's only bits and pieces of a much, much broader, larger, expanded experience of my life, of being harassed and hindered by people, even those included in an original birth family, that thought they had rights to manipulate and to molest my life and my body. No one in this world has a right to touch another human being, physically, in any way, shape, or form, without permission. We have failed to teach our children this, not at all. They are very loving and kind with each other, and they do hug on each other a lot. But as we grow into adulthood, we start to recognize the lines of delineation, the lines that say, if this has not been a part of our relationship, then there has to be a shift in our conversation to bring this about. I have been touched many times by women of the colored community physically putting their hands on me, and frankly, I don't like it. I don't like to be touched by other people. It's not true. It's just I don't like to be touched by people that I have barely known or I barely knew. The reality is I think most people are like that because we are sensitive to personal space. We recognize that our human boundaries extend to the extremities of our fingertips. And when someone comes into that zone, it's an intimate, more communicative, more social, more friendly, more whatever relationship. When I'm talking about these boundaries, I've just watched a man drive into a parking lot of a shop that I was sitting near because it's a place I like to sit to watch the traffic go by and to do what the Lord has bid me to do, to point out some things. But the man literally stared me down from his car, parked his car, got out of his car, walked up towards me, made eye contact with me, said nothing, walked beyond me, and at that point I realized it was time to go. And probably as he was doing his little dance, thinking that I didn't understand, I literally was putting myself together to go because the Lord said it's time to go. But in my lifetime, I listened to that quiet voice. I listened to that inner soul that says, this is not safe, it's time to move out, it's time to do things. And I don't like to be lied to by any reason or any shape or any form. We all have information of privacy that allows us to be private without some asshole in a baseball cap thinking he's got right to communicate about us in some secretive or some impolite way. What I mean by that is that when I'm seated literally in and under a parking garage just trying to find a place of quiet to make a recording, there's always somebody that's flying by. Now, if they're on their life journey, doing their thing for their life, wonderful. But if they're on some other life path put upon me, put upon my life, that's something else entirely, because I don't know them at all. In life, we have moments of time to say, look, focus on your own life, leave other people alone, stop playing games with people, but people don't always listen. We also have many things of private nature in our capabilities of our life. We have the person of which we have truly intimate relations, and sex, if you will. We have our intimate concepts and thoughts to the Lord as well. We have intimate, friendly relationships that talk about relationships that we're in to help us to grow, to think things through, to figure out how to communicate with others. But those too have parameters and boundaries of propriety that says, if I'm talking about this private subject, please God, don't talk about it with other people. But we seem to be in a land of voyeurism where everyone wants to voyeur on someone else's life. We have voyeurism with Facebook, we have voyeurism with other concepts of that or those that came out earlier. It's become sort of a ridiculous thing that now companies are controlling whether or not we can talk to another human being. For all we know, someone in that company might not like us in relation to that other person. They could just shut us off completely. This is why face-to-face conversation is so vital. But there has to be social etiquette ways that we approach someone. If you're seeing someone who's in struggle, the best thing to say is say, hello, my name is. I'm looking at this situation here from the outside perspective, but I'm wondering if you're in a little bit of struggle. And if so, I'm wondering how I might be able to help you today, because the Lord has put it on my heart to do something like this. That opens the door to a conversation. Then a man might say, like me, well, my britches are falling down and I desperately need a couple pairs of sweatpants with pockets. But openly, I have no money because everything is shut down, so I'm not able to sell my wares or my ideas or my technologies to make a living, sadly enough to barely pay for my food, let alone a new pair of pants that might be on sale right now at Walmart. The reality is that a person who is concerned about a person in need can always go to a gift store and a gift card concept. It has been one of my marketing concepts for my M2M, man to man, or life force mission that I've been promoting, that humbly suggests that there's always a person in need around the world. And the best practice a human being of any type of affluence or influence can produce is to simply make a habit of, instead of carrying extra cash, although I do know a man who sells shoes, who owns a shoe store, who owns a shoe conglomerate actually, who carries a $100 bill hidden in his wallet for emergency purposes, and I think that's a marvelous idea once you're at that position of life. And he could apply that to anyone in need, his truth, as well as his own life. And it won't cost him a thing, really, because he's got millions in the bank. But for people in poverty, another great gift for them is to simply go to a supermarket type store, a Walmart, a Dollar General, a Rural King, and purchase a gift card in an amount that you feel most comfortable in gifting without any request for anything in return to that individual. You see, when we do that, we're showing love, and it allows you to assess the situation in a few moments, to walk out of your vehicle, to walk by, to do something, whether it's at church or anywhere else, and to pull that out of your wallet and say, I think you're having kind of a rough moment in life. I could be completely wrong, but if I'm right, I'd really love to give you this gift card. Whether I'm right or wrong, there's no obligation to me now that I've given it to you. I just want you to do something nice for yourself, to help yourself along your truth and your plan for your life today. If this helps, I'm so glad. If it's an insult, I can always take it back. But if you'd be willing to accept it, I would greatly appreciate that. Because the Lord put it on my soul, my heart, to give you something today. or to help you in some way. You see, the problem is never that strangers aren't willing to give money. The challenge is, how much do we give? I've encouraged people to give somewhere between $5 and $7 in cash, just simply because it's not a lot of money. It's almost equal to a cup of coffee or a meal, and it would allow another human being who is impoverished, who is living in the streets, who is homeless, to actually go and buy at least one meal. If they're frugal, they might get 2 or 3 meals out of it if they can go to a place like a Dollar Tree or a Dollar General where they could buy canned goods or things like that, where it's a hearty sort of pasta meal or something like this, or a set of ramen. Who knows? That's not our decision to say. And it also lets them decide how much they want to carry with them. It allows them to decide how much they want to spend. It allows them to decide how many meals they're going to try and get out of that money. But it's a gift. For people who have more income, who are more generous, giving someone $20 or $30 might be nothing to you. But I'm not suggesting that's a requirement. I'm not even suggesting it's an obligation. What I'm saying is that when people are in struggle, when it's obvious that their pants are falling down, when it's obvious that their sweatpants are ripped, that might be the thing that they need most, but it also might be the thing that they can't afford right now. In life, we don't want to go purchase things for someone because you don't know that person from Adam. You don't know what that stranger likes. You don't know what that stranger's allergies are. You don't want to put them in anything that could cause them difficulty. So the best thing you can do is to carry cash to give away or to carry a gift card to give away. I've often said that it's one of the most loving things you can do is give a person a meal. So my program and its foundation has been on suggesting people buy gift cards from places they like to eat to give to someone who's in need. It's not a really difficult concept, but it is something that people can do within a lickety-split because they can use the cash in their pocket to purchase it, which is my recommendation, or they can actually use their credit card. One of the reasons I don't feel they should use their credit card is that sometimes cards can be recharged, either by the individual that you've gifted or by an employee who's doing ill will. You see, you never know who is really honest and who isn't until you spend time with them. But the truth is, it's time that has a resource to it as well. In life, we have moments of time to make a difference for someone. If you're able to make a difference for someone today, wonderful. If you're not, it might mean you need to talk to a group of people that you know to say, let's make a big difference. Let's collect money from every person, and then let's buy a gift card with that money. You see, that changes a person's entire world, because they'll not only be overwhelmed by the gift, but they'll see that you really did some planning, you really did some thinking about their life, you really did decided to acknowledge that they might need something more than just a meal. And in life, it's moments of time that change the world and change a human being to a better place.